Well, testing, testing, one, two, three. Hello there. Hi. This is gonna be an interesting stream. First time I've done something like this. Today is Transgender Day of Awareness. And that means that today we today's Transgender Day of Awareness, not Transgender Day of Remembrance. Hey there, Maddie, nice to see you. And it happens during Transgender Week of Awareness. My brain is scrambled. It's Transgender Day of Remembrance is the day where we remember those we lost this year, the last 365 days. For those of you who may not know this, because well, it's mostly only known to trans people and strong allies. But if you're new to this, people hate trans people a lot for reasons I cannot fathom. They say a lot of awful things in media, on Twitter, everywhere. But it's not just words. Hate crimes are abundant when it comes to trans people, and I haven't checked this year because honestly, the numbers are very disheartening. Um, but um, but last time I checked, roughly a transgender hate crime murder is reported every third day, and it would be generous to say that all hate crimes on trans people were actually reported. They're not. But even if we pretend they are, that all the reports are the only cases, that's 130 people who died this year because they were trans. Not because they did something stupid, not because they were old and gray, not because they got an illness, because they were trans. Because someone thought it was right to end their life just because they were. And it's not just those people we honor today. Today is also the day that we remember those we lost to suicide. Roughly 35% of trans people attempts suicide at some point in their life because discrimination is just that bad. And when you don't feel welcome anywhere, when you feel like everyone hates you, and feel like someone could come out of nowhere and try to, kill you, in a world like that, some don't have the strength to keep going. And that was CDORs. It's a day where we remember that a lot of people lost their lives unfairly, and that we remember that with their loss, we have to keep fighting because I cannot stress this enough. It cannot have been in vain. I'm sorry. Now I'm crying. This is a really dark topic. I won't pretend it isn't. It's it's a good day to feel sad. It's a good day to we think about people we lost. Usually, what I do is every year I take a candle to the streets and walk a long road downtown through the cold. Walk candle as a way to express um, express the feelings that goes through that. I wanted to do a stream this week, Transgender Awareness Week, um, because as a trans person, it's very important to me that we don't lose sight of we don't lose sight of what we're fighting for, why we're still here. It's human rights, and human rights are ever important. But now that I got that out of the way, now that I have said my piece on that, I don't want to just sit here for God knows how long I will be streaming. I don't know that yet. I'll find out. I don't want to just sit here and cry for 3 hours or however long it is. I want to do what I can to express fans today, express that it's okay that we're here, and just celebrate who we are. That's what I want. I needed to say my piece. I need to say that because we need to remember what this day is about before I start trying to have fun with trans stuff. Because honestly, this is no celebration, and yeah, it's really something. Actually, honestly, I I was someone who tried to kill themselves. A long time ago, I was, and exactly for those reasons, discrimination, and the fact that it's hard to bear. I know that I'm continuing down, but honestly, I think I have more things to say now that I'm thinking about it. I have not planned this. I do not have a script at all, so everything's just rolling off my brain. I should have brought tissues to my stream setup, but I did because things were tough. And when I think about the fact that today could have been a day for me as well, when I think that it could have been me, you know, like such an horrific feel to have. Just the thought it could have been me. It's one of the reasons why I very highly, why I never forget this day. Yeah. Um. Yeah. What did I want to do today? To have fun, or well, not fun, but hopefully a little bit of fun. What did I want to do today for the stream that isn't just me being sappy and sad for the house? I wanted to just sketch a bunch of things. A bunch of things that's trans related. Maybe some characters. Maybe just different things. Right now I am, as you can see, sketching a candle. Sketching a candle. Yeah, I'm gonna work a little bit on that. But if you have any requests, I only take trans related requests today, but if you have any requests, I will sketch it. About that candle I said I used to walk down the streets with every year, I can't do that this year. COVID has been an issue. This is what I'm doing instead. Again, I don't want to spend the entire stream just crying, so that's why I feel like I had to definitely open with the pains of what's going on, but also I want to say that we can also focus on other ways to be trans, especially because we're here. We need to be here while we can. Does not quite look right to me. Lips. Getting the right the right curvature for something like this is really hard. Got it. Today, as I said, it's a good day to be sad about something. Have you guys ever watched or read a horror musuku localized as A Wandering Sun? It's a manga I read when I was young, and an anime I watched when it came out in 2011. It's an old one. Good one. It how to put it? It is about a girl. Her name is Shuichi, and she was born a boy, and she's trying to figure out herself. Essentially, that's what it's about, and it isn't easy for her. She feels alienated and weird in the world, but when she just spends some time alone in public, passing, walking down the streets, she feels at peace with herself, even if she has to do it alone. It's a good series, and if you want something that's relatable as a trans person, or if you want to try and understand the trans experience, of course the trans experience cannot be summed up in a anime like that, but once a place to start. try to understand it. Or if you're a trans person who wants something that's relatable, I think it's a good place to start. I like it. I liked it a lot. I was like singing, and the opening theme to A Wandering Sun called Itstarte, and it means always. It's a really good song, and I thought maybe I'd sing it to you today during the stream, if that's all right. Um, if you think that's all right, then I would love to do that. I'm a little bit nervous, but it's something that's all right to be, I guess. Always you seem so strong in your soul and your heart, so open and honest. You never really lie to yourself. Don't you look down on me, instead show me the way how to be true to myself and understand that it's okay. The words you said back then were kind to me, even if they do. Lyrics. The words you said back then were kind to me. Thanks to that I learned to smile, you see. The throbbing feelings deep within my chest confuses me, yet I will do my best. But if they found out who I am on the inside, I doubt that they would still smile back at me when they finally see. Always you seem so strong in your soul and your heart, so open and honest. You never had to lie to yourself. Don't look down on me, instead show me the way how to be true to myself and understand that it's okay. There I lay us hiding what's inside. In the deep my heart has cried and cried. I want to find myself, but I'm tough to find. Sometimes I wish that there was a clear line. Yeah. Maybe I should not be doing this while I'm incredibly, what's it called? While I'm still snotty and crying and stuff. I feel like I'm stumbling over myself a lot, and I'm not really doing it justice. Let me try that line again. I want to find myself, but I'm tough to find. Sometimes I wish that there was a clear line. I wish for magic that could heal all of my pain. All the scars, the wounds I want to tame, igniting my flame. Always I want to be strong like you are to me, so open and honest. I never want to lie to myself. No, you are not alone, and I need you to show how to really make some noise so I can sing my true voice, ways I want to be, strong like you are to me. So open and honest, I never once lied to myself. Don't you look down at all, 'cause we'll be standing tall. I can be true to myself and I will sing everything. And that's basically how it goes. I know, this is my best performance. I like singing, and I know I made a lot of mistakes today, but because I'm nervous and because I'm a little bit affected by the whole emotional crying thing. I also feel like I have a lot of snot, so there's that. I know that's not the issue. It's what happens when you're sad and feel like crying. You get it becomes like that. So my airways aren't quite open for it, and I know I'm making a lot of excuses, and honestly I shouldn't. It's fine. I did fine. And it's not really important if I sound amazing or not. What's important is that it's a good song. I translated it myself. It's um, it's originally a Japanese song. As I said, it started. And I, of course, been taking the creative liberties that comes with that. Um, it's not a what's called direct translated song. That's that generally does not make for good music, but it gets the gist across. And that it's a song that reminds me of. It's a song that comes with the opening of a show about a trans girl, and it reminds me that I'm not alone. None of us are. Um, somewhere out there, someone sang the song to show that shared with the world, but it's just a glimpse of what it's like to be trans. I think that's beautiful. I'm sorry if this gets really sappy or anything like that. Just thoughts, thoughts I have, the thoughts that I give. As I said, I do take requests today, as long as it's trans related, and I'm probably gonna keep talking about trans stuff for a while. But yeah, um, oh, and let's. Here it's a flame. Thus, so yeah, that's the first sketch for today. A trans um a trans candle that burns in the trans flags colors. I think it's very cute, and I really like it. So there's that. Um, uh, yeah, it's I kind of wish now. I wish I kind of had a script because I I wait. I don't know what to say. I'm also not sure what to draw right now. But I'll figure it out. Um, I'll figure it out. Like, I actually really like the candle I drew. I think it's cute, and I kind of wish we had that. Candles that burns in the trans colors. Because honestly, if I had the choice, if I had the option, I would I would walk I would walk every Transgender Day of Remembrance with them if I could. But yeah, um, take this here, down here, and move it to the side. I'm gonna make the next thing. What about uh, since we're talking about her, this is Syreni, the anime character talking about. As I said, this anime was really important to me personally because it helped me feel less alone. Which is generally very, very important. Uh, what kind of pose do we want for that? Honestly, that one is kind of cute. Let's try that. Yuichi, as a character, she's very young. She's a young teenager, I think, or maybe she's a child. Honestly, not quite sure about that. But when you follow her in the manga, she does grow up, and you do get to experience her when her voice starts to crack and all of those wonderful things that trans people has to deal with. I know most men has to deal with the voice cracking, but imagine being a girl and your voice starts cracking. Honestly, that's the worst. Yeah. Mhm. Do that. Mm. as I said, she's a rather cute character, honestly. As I said, I see a lot of myself in her, and I bet a lot of trans people see a lot of themselves in it. I also know there's stories about trans people who figured themselves out thanks to this show, which also is important because it's not easy figuring out who you are in a world where the kind of person you are is the kind of person that's being shamed to death, you know? Literally. 40% of us are being shamed to death, honestly. Honestly, kind of fucked up. Not just kind of, it is fucked up. And funnily enough, you may recognize what she's wearing as a school uniform, Japanese school uniform, but actually, she actually had to get this herself because she had to get this herself as you know, she was closeted, and it's not even the same uniform as her classmates has, and she was also scared to bring it to school, and when she finally does, she is getting bullied for it, which is honestly a very normal reaction for something like this. Yeah, I really like this show. I'm sorry if this particular stream is very sappy and sad, but no. But yeah. Can I get a different reference picture of her? She looks so shy. I can relate to that too. I'm not a shy person anymore. I mean, I'm on YouTube. Um, but um, but back in the day, I was very shy because I was afraid. Every moment outside of my home was scary because because scary because how do I put it? What if I didn't pass? A lot of people, I passed a lot of the time, and people told me I was cute. But even then, even then, it's sometimes my voice out at me. I also remember this one particular instance where there was a girl, and she's not a mean person, don't get me wrong, but she started poking my chest because she suspected that I was male, and you know, she was curious. She was wondering how my chest were like that, so she started poking it, trying to figure out what it was made of. And yeah, that's rude. That's incredibly rude. But also a lot of cis people who don't know how to act around trans people at all. Like it's like once someone is trans, cis people forget boundaries because they're curious. Some of them learn, some of them don't. Um, this one, she learned. I told her that was not okay, and she hasn't done something like that since. And she also apologized. But if people they get like insulted and start saying stuff like, "Well, I was just asking," or "Can't you take a joke?" They're not worth dealing with. Um, but I have plenty of that too, because the world just isn't nice to trans people. I wish it was, but what to do with what we got? But yeah. There's also a female to male character in the Wandering Sun story. His name is Takatsuki, or well, their name is Takatsuki. They start out very adamantly that they are female to male. By the end of it, they're not sure what they are. Um, Sometimes things change. Sometimes, like if you're trans, you're trans. That doesn't change. But sometimes you think you understand your identity and you're wrong, and you discover new things about yourself. And that's what happens to Takatsuki. And they, by the end of it, they're not sure what they are. But ultimately, I don't think, as far as I can tell, they're not female. They're probably non-binary, but they have a lot of experiences in the story that what's called um, that are similar to what I'd imagine a female to male would be going through. Um, yeah, honestly, a really cool, really cute series, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for a place to find a little bit of representation. Um, so yeah, lag here. Maybe she's a bit paler than that. Yeah, that looks more like it. I honestly like making sketches like this. A little bit of color. And yeah, very cheap. One specific scene in the manga where, or in the show, where where someone manages to poke her a little bit and accidentally pushes her wig to the side, and she kind of corrects it. A very cute moment. But yeah, generally a cute character. So, what's next? Honestly, generally, she's a very adorable character. There's not that many trans characters in media in general, especially not ones that are well written and not treated like we're outcasts. Um, so that is hmm, finding something that's good on that front would be hard. Actually, why don't we just search trans trans characters in modern media? Of course, Double Trouble will be among them. I don't know any of these. I mean, I don't know her, and I don't know about Poison. I'm contemplating drawing a Double Trouble now. Probably a good idea, honestly. We have a picture of them right here to showcase them. Uh, uh, Double Trouble is a character from the Shira, uh, from Netflix Shira adaptation, and like legitimately, Netflix Shira adaptation is like the gayest show I've seen ever. Like it's gay, and if you don't think it's gay, then you're wrong. Um, The Princess of Powers are basically made up of a group of power lesbians. Um, and there are so much LGBT representation within it. It's just awesome. Um, yeah. Um, I'm thinking of doing something incredibly dramatic pose-wise because Double Trouble is a non-binary character with a with one hell of a feel for the with one hell of a flair for the dramatic. Like they love dramatic stuff. They really love being dramatic. No. But yeah, in terms of flair for the dramatic, they are like an actor. They're also a shapeshifter, which is like a power fantasy for like all trans people ever. That would make life so much easier, just generally speaking. But yeah, they are an actor. They love the scene. They love the drama, and they're just all about that. Get some get some of that in there. I was honestly hoping to see more people today. I know, the channel is small and I can't expect people to be here, but I hope people would be here for this day. Um, Not random people on the internet, but my friends, to be honest. But to be fair, I didn't per se advertise that I was gonna do this. So, and I think, well, because that I'm scared when it comes to stuff like this. I'm nervous and I'm scared that I'm doing that I'll make a mistake or I did do something wrong. It's very important to me as a person because I'm trans myself, and sometimes I think about what could happen. I don't want awful things to happen to other trans people, and sometimes I also think about the fact that because I'm trans, I could have been one of the people on the TDR lists and stuff like that. So, generally, doing stuff that increases awareness for this is just, yeah. But it's also hard because it's very personal. It's personal. It's right to the core of me, who I am. Hard to be like, hey, I'm gonna spend um, a long time talking about me and trans people and what it's like to be trans, and not be scared of people judging you. You know? So I just kind of, silently posted it the places where I usually post it, and hope people would comment because I was scared to try harder, but also still kind of just hope people would be here because this is important to me. And I guess I can't have it both ways. That's what I thought. Actually, I made a mistake here. There we go. Full acting prowess. Boo is me. Double trouble. Double trouble has a side cut. Never really thought about that. Get a bigger picture again so that I can see which way the hair would normally go down here. And it gets more double trouble. Just again, double trouble. They are awesome. And while non-binary, what's called while non-binary representation is like super important as well. I have often made observations about how it feels like we're getting more non-binary representation than we're getting binary trans people. And again, all representation matter, and I wouldn't take that away from the non-binary people at all. And I also know that even as I'm saying that, it's sparse as it is, but I can't help but suspect that big companies do stuff like that because it's easier, because they're afraid of what's called of committing to a full-on trans character. Like let's take Double Trouble for instance. Double Trouble is an alien, so they can excuse their I know Shira is a bad example, honestly, because Shira is so gay. But if a show is afraid of committing to a trans character but still want to be inclusive of the trans community, doing a non-binary character that is alien or mechanical in origin is a way for them to like, hey, we like you guys, but also we want the plausible deniability towards conservatives. I know Shira does not want that. Shira is like, just doesn't give a shit. It's super gay. But in general speaking, and sometimes it's not about what the showrunners want. Sometimes it's about what the network wants. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I've seen a gender non-conforming character as far back as 2005 or something like that on Lloyd in Space. And again, it was an alien character. They only appeared for a singular episode because I guess they were terrified of having to commit to a character like that. And it was again not binary gender. They seemed basically non-binary, and again they were alien. So even if wanted to make an argument that they were trying to represent trans people, the plausible deniability of no, that's just because it's an alien character. They don't have the concept of gender. Stuff like that. It's honestly a really good episode, that one from Void in Space. The plot of it is that a character appears that everyone is like friends with at school, even though we never seen them before, never see them since. Because again, because the big companies are scared of addressing us. But yeah. But where's my brain going with this? I can barely remember what I just said 5 seconds ago, so let alone finishing seeing what the fuck I was talking about is beyond me. I'm very tired today. Yeah, it was about a kid that they were all kind of friends with, and then suddenly, no wait, he was a new kid. He was a new kid, and everyone wanted to be friends with them. And after a while, the boys and the girls started fighting over whether or not the kid was male or female. Obviously, kid had to be male so that they would be cool and do boy stuff, or the kid had to be female so that they could be pretty and do girl stuff. And while it is one of those trope episodes where a show puts the girls against the boys and stuff like that, where they kind of basically boil boys things down to burping and throwing rocks, which is stupid in on itself. In terms of how they handle the gender non-conforming characters, it's very interesting because the kid admits that they aren't male nor female, and they say that they have to choose for the birthday what gender they want to be. And then once that is established, the characters start fighting over whether or not they should be male or female. And the boys are all like, we want them to be a boy, and the girls are all like, no, they should be a girl, etc., etc. But ultimately, the kid gets tired of the bullshit and says something along the lines of, "This is a really important step for me. It's a choice I have to make, and it's gonna affect the rest of my freaking life. And the fact that you guys are treating it like a contest or like an argument is insensitive and stupid. And honestly, you should all just shut up. If I'm gonna be a boy or if I'm gonna be a girl, it's gonna be my decision, and fuck you guys." Basically, is what it boiled down to. And after they said that, everyone started feeling bad about it, and stuff like that. And they, of course, apologize while also missing the point of why he was angry in the first place. Oh, not he, they were angry in the first place because, honestly, all the characters just went on and be like, "I'm sorry, we tried to make you a boy. You can be a girl if you want, so you should be a girl." And then they, flip the narrative on each other. But by the end of it, the characters just, they had the birthday. They had to pick what gender they were. They asked them, and they're all like, "None of your fucking beeswax." And that's honestly the perfect answer to that. What is your gender? What is your gender? And the answer is just like, you. And the answer is basically just like, that's for me to know, and not really. I can't find the way to express it, but it also just more or less is expressed in the way the character says it. None of your beeswax. And that is just very on point, especially for non-binary people. What gender are you? Mm-hmm. But yeah. Sometimes I also don't understand why cis people are so obsessed with gender. You know? Like, they like to say that we're obsessed with gender, but also we are not really obsessed with gender as much as we just want to live our own gender. They're the ones that won't stop bothering us about it. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm talking about gender right now, but that's a direct response to the fact that these people are treating us awfully. If people were treating us like human beings in the first place, there wouldn't be a need for TDOR. There wouldn't be a need for Trans Awareness Day, and I wouldn't be here bawling my eyes out, trying to keep a sentence connected while thinking about the awful atrocities that led to the fact that we have a TDOR. You know? And as I said, I don't want to just this be me crying for 3 hours straight, and I'm not crying right now. I can still feel the effects of almost crying there at the beginning while talking about it. It's hard to talk about, you know. I don't want it to be that. That's why I want to focus on these shows and talking about that, because representation in media can be such a great thing. To be honest, it makes me happy that we have something, you know. And again, I do take requests right now as long as it is trans related. I'm contemplating doing Luca, honestly, from the Pixar movie, or Beat, because Luca embodies a lot of trans energy with the whole passing as a human thing, being afraid that people might kill them um, when they enter a new town and stuff like that. That's very trans. A lot of trans energy in general. Like, there's also like the scene in it where a character discovers Luca is a fish person, and she goes like, of all places, in the world for fish people to visit, you decide to visit here. My dad is a fish people slayer or sea monster killer, which is like also just very on point for some trans experiences. Like going somewhere and getting to know someone, and then that they're like, you can't see my parents because they would literally stab you if they met you. You know, kind of things where you have an ally in someone who has parents that are anything but an ally. Know what I'm saying? Um, that's but yeah. But there's also like the whole Disney doesn't want to represent us at all. Um, they're very much like afraid of their conservative audience and doesn't dare really touching us in general. So I'm not sure if I should do Luca, because honestly, the fact that Luca is it's a trans movie in everything but name, and Disney insists it's not a trans movie. Well, not just generally a queer movie in everything but name, but Disney insists it's not a queer movie. Like there's also some really gay undertones in a lot of places. Like very controversial. It was very debated when the movie came out back in June. In Pride Month of all times, you know, plausible deniability doesn't want to admit something is gay, and we're gonna release it in Pride Month. No one's gonna bat an eye. Of course, everyone batted an eye, but um, but yeah. So I'm not sure if I should, if it belongs here, but at the same time, I really feel like the character kind of belongs here, even if they're not actually confirmed trans, and even if Disney is being dickheads about it. The same goes for the other thing I said. What was the other thing I said? There was another one. There was a different character. It was Beat. Beat from Pokemon. Like Beat feels like a character, as far as I can tell, that was meant to be trans, but the Pokemon Company and Nintendo didn't dare touching it. Um, like there's nothing in the story that hints at it per se. There's nothing that feels uh, unlike Luca, where it feels like the entire story is very queer. Like as I said, with the example of the fish people thing and the whole um, my examples with the fish people and stuff like that. There isn't anything like that in Pokemon Innate, but Beat specifically is a fairy type expert, which is like fairy is an it's an old word for gay. It's not a very nice word, if I remember correctly, but some people has been using it in a reclaimed way. Then there's the fact that he is like that doesn't mean anything. Like, Pokemon has 18 types, there's gonna be experts in everything, including dragons and fairies and fire and water. That's not really it. But the fairy type experts of Pokemon Sword and Shield wear the butterfly symbol as the logo. And if you're a trans person, you know the significance of the butterfly and why we use it as a symbol. Because sometimes we also need to go through a metamorphosis to live our lives, you know? So that's why that's considered a trans symbol. But if it was just that, if it was just that, it's coincidence, right? Then you look at the color scheme for the fairy uniform, and it's like, it's pink, it's baby pink and baby blue, you know, the colors of the trans flag. And here it's still like my generally what I say is that once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. But it's not just that; it's also his entire theme, the way he fights. He almost exclusively used feminine Pokemon, and all of them are also happen to be trans colors, like Sylveon and like his ace being Hatterene. They're all like pink and blue. Everything he does, everything he walks around with is in the trans colors, and that's after a certain point. In the beginning, he's just wearing a purple jacket, and he's not using these Pokemon that are very trans related, except for his ace Pokemon, the one that is his best friend or whatever, his first Pokemon. But then he gets recruited by the fairy specialist, and that's when everything changes, and it starts getting more and more trans looking. So I don't know, man. It feels like Pokemon wanted to make a trans character, but they didn't dare actually doing it. That's what it feels like to me, and I kind of want to put him here because he literally wears the trans flag as his outfit. But then again, he's not actually a trans character, and all my opinions about whether or not he might have supposed to be trans is how do I put it? It's opinionated. It's hypotheses. It's theories. I'm very convinced I'm right, but it is what it is. You know, I kind of want to draw Peter. I kind of want to draw Luca. Might not feel right to do so. Okay. Want an actually male to female or female to male character this time. I kind of like the artwork I ended up with. It's very double trouble. Oh my woos! I can even imagine. Like, I didn't draw the bottom half of it, but I did the winkling of it on purpose. I can imagine him just leaning backwards and being like, "Oh, woo is me to the world," and it's really just because they love acting. Not because it's typically not because they're actually in a situation where they're in trouble. Double trouble is sly and slimy. they can get out of any situation, you know? Yeah. Non-binary character, awesome. Because I can. As I said, Kira is very gay. When you look at it, very gay, and I love it. Queer communities needs more stuff like that in modern media, so that we have like more representation, more things to go to. Thank you. I try my best. Again, I really think the post I know is really great for them. There's actually literally a scene in the series show where Double Trouble steps up, and that's the diff. They're like paralyzed because of poison or something like that. I don't remember the details, but then they're like, then they ask the character carrying them to be like, can you grab my hand and move it towards the heavens? And then they do some dramatic, poetic take. And it's just, I think it was, and onwards to the theater, or something like that. And it's just a great character. I don't know why they were suddenly British, but uh, but yeah, Kira is a show that makes me feel seen, even though there isn't an actual binary trans character. The fact that it had so many lesbians and that one non-binary character made me feel like I was kind of seen, because even though it wasn't specifically me, it was targeting the people around me, the queer community that stands alongside the trans people that need that community to stay in, you know. So yeah, I guess there's spoilers here, but transgender characters. There's also just so many characters, like in modern media, well, in stuff like that, that gets that kind of plays around with gender roles and gender barriers. Here's Blair Flanagan, also known as Ray Sautome, from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and she was a character that wanted to sneak into the Duel Academy of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and she did so disguised as a boy. And she was one of my first real experiences in television with a character that cross-dress, like at all. So episode 20 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX season 1 holds a special place in my heart, even though it's like it says nothing about trans people at all. It's just a girl cross-dressing to sneak in somewhere. But I felt less alone watching it. And it's one of those things where trans people, because of the lack of representation, is so vast, we kind of have to grab what we can, if we want anything to relate to anything that we can feel like belongs to us in any way. And that's honestly not okay. And that's one of the reasons why Ray Sautome has a special place in my heart, because as I said, my first experience with a cross-dressing character, and it made me feel seen just a little bit, even if it's not, even if you nothing, it was nothing of the sort. This was not something that made me seen. And some of you may realize that Sautome is a reference to a different character that bends gender, but also isn't trans. This, or maybe he kinda is. Ranma Sautome from the Ranma Half manga, which is very much a piece of its time. Like, I cannot recommend it at the moment because I tried going back to it, and there's just so many things that has not aged well, for many reasons. You know how Disney on Disney Plus have like different disclaimers for how this might seem a little bit sexist or a little bit racist, and we don't stand by that anymore. So it's still here because it's part of our movie catalog, but no, we do not condone this. They kind of put that in front of the Aristocats, and the Aristocats has this scene where a Chinese-style cat is wearing a one of those what's called hi-hats from a drum set, and has really narrow eyes, and starts playing on a piano with chopsticks, and it just looks really racially insensitive, like really wrong. And that's how I feel about Ranma when I try to go back to it. It may not be that bad, but when I try to go back to Ranma, it feels very sexist in a lot of ways. That said, Rama might be a trans character-ish. He falls into a magical cursed pond that turns him into a girl sometimes. Like, so he basically lives his life as a girl half the time. He was born cis, but he never stops identifying as male. Even when he's in his female form, it's always very clear that he's still a man and he still stands by it. And he also embodies a little bit of toxic masculinity with himself, because he often does stuff like I'm not girly or something like that. But it loosens up as the series goes on, because after a while he gets more comfortable with feminine things and grows as a person, which is commendable in terms of character development. But yeah, Ranma also interesting character. But why am I blanking so hard on trans characters right now? I could draw Takakun from Kuromusuku as well, to get that female to male. But I kind of wanted it to be from a different series. Like, want to represent more than 2 franchises by having Shira and Innisfree here. So again, anyone has any great ideas in the chat, I am all ears. Trans characters. I have no idea who Nia Nal is. I think she's from the Supergirl show. Vivian? I haven't played the game, so I don't know how well Vivian is handled. I kind of want to keep this to characters that are well handled. If someone can say in the chat that they know a well handled trans character, I'm all for it. Yeah. In comics, Elaine from Shudder, Blaze from German Holograms, Red Queens, Bruno, Overcome, Venus Envy. Kind of needs to be a character I know, because otherwise I can't really. I guess there's Rain Flaherty from the Rain comics. That's a webcomic. It's not that big. If you need something relatable that's trans, you can go read that on DeviantArt. Let's go next door also. Help us, great work. And vegetation. Yeah, Becoming Me. That sounds like a really good title for a trans book, to be honest. I should have made a script. I should so have made a script. Yeah, so I knew what I was doing. Games. I don't. Birdo is not a good choice. Definitely not. I need to consume more media with trans characters in them. Nova from Pokemon X and Y, yes, he's an NPC. I don't feel like that is really good enough, to be honest. Honestly, Nova from X and Y made me feel like maybe Pokemon would actually dare do something, but they didn't. In the end, they didn't. What's this? Do we have an animation? Wandering Sun. Makoto Arika. Oh, she's also kind of cute, Makoto. But again, that's from the same series. I don't know though, most of these. That's a problem. Again, because if I don't know them, I can't really vouch for whether or not they're well handled. I know Hermaphrodite from Futurama is not well handled. You know what? If I can't find anyone else, Lily Hoshikawa it becomes. I haven't watched Sunland Saga yet, but everyone and her mother says it's a really she's really the character's really well handled. So, uh, well, definitely. I will end up drawing her probably. Who's Jewel Star? Wait, there was a trans male character in Shira that I didn't notice. Let's have a look at this. I do not remember this guy at all. What do we have here? Just as one of 3 Star siblings, he has 2 younger sisters, Tallstar and Starla. All Star siblings survives the Horde Prime's destructive conquest. Who's Starla? I don't remember these at all. You? From season 5, episode Stranded. What happened in that episode? Stranded is the 4th episode of season 5 and the 45th episode of all. It was released on Netflix. Aboard Darla Mars' ship, Adora is surprised to catch her save Glimmer's life. Glimmer told her catcher wanted to lie. She apologized to Adora, activating the heart of Furia. Bo and Adora, but Bo couldn't because the left entrapped her. Furia, Scorpia. After then, an alien the team learns that it was. Well, I can't remember it, but I'm gonna draw Jewel Star. Maybe. I just realized Jewel Star is also from Shira, which again I was thinking I was just like a trans male character that isn't from Homusuko. Yes, I'm down with. Oh, right. I already picked the character from Shira. That's the thing. You know what? It doesn't matter. I'm gonna draw Jewel Star anyways. He seems chill. Gonna need to find a decent picture of him. There we go. What kind of I don't know what kind of pose would fit him, to be honest. Mm. You know what? I'm gonna do this here. Well, we're talking about trans stuff anyways. I remembered something, and it's about me, I guess. So, yeah, maybe I should talk about that. I I am really tired of people making the assumption that being trans is a choice. A lot of a lot of awful things comes from the fact that people think being trans is a choice. Um, like the assumption does literally nothing good for us. People who think it's a choice thinks about why we would make that choice and makes assumptions about why we do that. Like they all like people who think these kinds of things, they always assume, or they often assume, that there's like an ulterior motive behind it. Newsflash, there isn't, because it's not a choice. And then there's like the people who think that we just choose not to be, which really fucked up my life. That there was someone like that in my life, someone who thought that I could choose not to be, and he did everything in his power to convince me not to be, try and change my mind. Did so for so long that it nearly killed me. I already mentioned what it was called earlier today, that I'm a suicide survivor, and there's nothing special about that. Most trans people are suicide survivors. It's just a point to say that it's generally really bad to make assumptions like that. Um, but yeah, I'm so tired of that. People assuming it's a choice. If I had had a choice, I wouldn't be trans. That's simple. Why anyone would ever choose this kind of discrimination and pain? Well, not the entire trans experience is like pain, and I don't want to make it all like a big misery compilement fest. But with discrimination, the alienation, the amount of people who judge you, and the amount of times you feel like you can't even be yourself in public spaces, stuff like that, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And I can't imagine anyone who would choose that if they had an option to not live that. You know? Um, and I think that's the truth. Uh, Kind of hard drawing a character I don't know that well. At least that it doesn't feel like I know that well. Um, well, I'm trying. I'm trying. And that's what's important, right? I know I said I want to verify that they're well written, but also I trust the Shira cast. I do. They handled um they handled so many gay queer things in general really really well. So if it's a Shira character, I trust it. And I may have outed myself today as someone who mostly watch cartoons and anime, which which might be true. Um, um, but hey, nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, you can have whatever preferences you prefer, and I know what mine is. He has like an interesting headpiece. Looks like he's lost his eye or something like that. I'm trying to bet my best with the reference picture I got. Yeah, that's probably as good as it gets. I think that turned out pretty well, don't you think? Well, so far. I was gonna add a little bit of color to it, but yeah. This. Mhm. There's a song that also had like a very particular impression on me back in the day called Beautiful by Christina Aguilera. And, and the lyrics is just, well, beautiful. Things about what it's like to be different. And it's a lot, you know, for most people, it probably touches a poke about bullying. And while I think that's a fair interpretation to make, I think she's broader scope. She's talking about discrimination as well. I think she's generally talking about what it's like to for people to put you down. A lot of people do that if they get the chance. Um, and that song just speaks to me. Um, that song's official music video also has a trans character in it, or potentially a trans person. I don't know the history behind that music video. It might be an actual trans person, but it's a very It's a very how do I put that? It's a very um, it's a very strong song, emotionally speaking, and I like listening to it from time to time. Yeah. So back when I was a kid, or well, a teenager, this this kid came by, or well, teenager came by. He was a nice guy, very chill, very open-minded. He came to my house, and at this time in my life, well, I was first starting to get friends again because I've always been socially awkward, and I invited a group of people from a Japanese club thingy where we not really a club so much. It was like an evening school thing where we all went to learn the language. Um, and we had a lot to talk about because teenagers that want to learn Japanese are all anime fans. We had shared interests, so to speak. We had a lot of them by for a get together after we stopped at some point because what's called the lessons for the year was over, and I invited them by. We just wanted to hang out together, and since we kind of made this group of friends, and then there's this kid, oh well, this teenager. I didn't know him at the time. I had never talked to him while we were at class together. I didn't even know he existed. He just comes banging to my place, and he's saying hi to everyone else because they already knew him um, from class. As I said, I never talked to him. I didn't even know he existed. And there he is, walking about, um, being a chill dude, and then he starts spouting all these weird words like um, like transgender and pansexual and words like that. And he just knows all these words. And I ask him what they are. And like the second I ask him what is a trans person, there's just something that just click in my head. I'm never gonna forget this. Something just said click. No, was like it was like it was like I finally understood something about myself that I never had before. There he was, a random person I barely just met, and and he said he was trans. He explained what it was to me, and I was like, oh my fucking god! I wish someone had told me earlier, because it was like I finally understood myself. Um, I told him, and he helped me find myself. So yeah, representation matter because if you don't know it means to be trans, you can't figure out that you are trans. And it's not a question about whether or not media turns you trans or whether or not knowing about it turns you. It's more like you are, but you don't understand what is wrong with you until someone can help you find out. Which is basically how everything works when you start thinking about it. Everything that's personal like that works. Like you might sneeze and you might be like, I'm not feeling so good. I think I might have a cold. And you think that. And that's fine, you can think that. But then the doctor puts like puts something down your throat or into your nose or something like that to check what it is, and then they tell you you have COVID. And then all of a sudden it's like, I didn't know that. That makes sense. I wish I had known before. Actually, no, this is an awful analogy. I regret saying that. That's an awful analogy. I should not have made that analogy. What I mean to say is that we can't know what something is about ourselves, no matter what it is, without knowing what that is in the first place. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's like, my analogy was shit, but my point was that my point was more that if you're sick, you can't tell yourself what is wrong with you. You need someone else to kind of help you understand what is wrong. Because if you just sit there making assumptions, then, or assume that you know everything there is to know, then you'll never figure it out. And that's why representation matters in the end. Because the more people who understands in the first place, the more people can figure these things out for themselves. Which, now that I've worded it out loud, now that the analogy makes even less sense to me. What were you on about? I'm tired. I said something incredibly stupid. Those are one of those things, like, really? Don't listen to what I say, listen to what I mean. I'm not gonna edit that out. I was thinking to myself, maybe I should edit that out afterwards, but honestly, sometimes it's okay to say something idiotic as long as you know you said something idiotic and you clarify you said something idiotic and everyone knows you said something idiotic so that people don't take it seriously. But it's also kind of annoying that I said something idiotic in the middle of me talking about trans things, because that is the, how do I put it? We need to be very elegant when we're talking about what it's like to be trans in general, because if we aren't like magically super genius that knows everything about everything that is to know about being trans, then we're being dismissed by people who were skeptical of us. Like, we have to defend our own existence just because we're different. People are asking us to justify things that's unfair for them to. Oh, people expect us to say things and explain things that is unfair for of them to even expect us to know in the first place. Like, imagine if because you were white, no, you know what? Let's not bring race into this. let's imagine that because you're straight, you had to know the entire history of everyone who was straight ever, and also about the science of what makes a person straight or what makes a person gay. Just in case someone wants to ask, because if you don't get this right immediately, and don't sound like you have your shit together, then they will dismiss you or treat you like shit. And even if you do get these questions right, they botch you with. They still mistreat you. That's what it's like to be trans. So yeah. Isn't that wonderful? I know. I'm saying a lot of things that are pretty glum during the stream, but uh, there isn't that many great things about being trans, you know? Um, except that when you feel euphoria, gender euphoria, when someone for the first time uses your chosen name, when someone respects your pronouns for the first time, or when someone um, just, that's wonderful. And then there's the flip side of that, when someone doesn't. I remember that I used to work at a restaurant, and when I was um, I used to work in a restaurant, and sometimes I would hear parents say stuff like, "No, that's a dude," or stuff like that to the children when they asked about my gender. And I'm like, first of all, who are you to think that you know that better than I do? And also, why can't you just be polite enough to freaking ask? Like, it is so much worse when people just behind your back going like, I know what this person is. It's so rude, honestly, and I hate it. Besides, asking is just all people should do. Ask your pronouns, ask your name. And people don't get that. At least some people don't. Um, but I'm tired. I'm tired of trans issues. I'm tired of the world falling apart around me. I'm tired of Trump and his supporters. I'm tired of situations like the Dave Chappelle one and the J.K. Rowling one. I am tired of how it seems like trans hate groups has been spreading from America to Europe as of recently. I am tired of all of this bullshit. I'm tired. I just want to be here, be happy. And I try. I try really hard. We're not always allowed. That's how it is. I think this is a really cute sketch as well. I think I did that kind of well. I actually been having fun sketching tonight. Again, I know I've been all over the place in terms of what I've been saying and what I've been talking about, but you know what? Let's talk about something else again, a little bit sweeter. Um, I want to tell you about the first time in my life I the first time in my life that I wished upon a star. It's a small story. I was riding a car with my dad. Um, I don't remember where we were going. It was in the middle of the night, and I could look at the stars above me. And it was the first time I ever seen a shooting star. Like, first time ever. And as a kid, there's so many things you want. Like, a cool new race car toy, a new video game. But when it came to a wish that could be granted by cosmic magic of a shooting star, there was only one thing I could wish for. And so, as a 4-year-old, oh well, maybe I was 6, something along those lines, a little kid, I just wished I could wake up a girl. That's all. No, nothing else I wanted. And I think that's telling. Again, people like to think that it's like some sort of choice or something like that, or that it's some kind of perversion or whatever they say about us. But for most of us, yeah, I need to get around to watching that anime to myself, to be honest, as well. Um, but honestly, most of us has known since we were children, even if we didn't have a word for it, even if we didn't understand it. Most of us known all along, and the same way these people know that they are the gender they are. Um, so do we. It's just intuitive. Yeah, that's all I can really say. But yeah, that's a story I will never forget because it's one of the first, because I never stopped hoping for that to ever come true. Never understood how true it already was. I think that's gonna be my last drawing for tonight. I've already been streaming for a couple of hours, which is fine. Mm, mm, honestly, a really cute outfit she has. Mm, I really need to watch this one too. Apparently, it's a really good show, so I really hope it is. Mm, I probably need more than this reference. No. And mm, 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 something that oh, don't looking properly dead. It's honestly really really cute. Um, um, like wow, she's really cute. Looking at her design and really getting to draw her. Um, which, contrary to popular belief, a lot of trans people are cute. Um, but a lot of people wants to believe that trans people look weird or like some sort of Frankenstein in between the genders, because I don't know, which we don't. It's actually not that complicated um, to break the barriers between the genders. There are some certain things you need to know, and you need to take a little bit care of yourself and how you look. And of course, hormone therapy does help, but most people who are trans are very passing, and most people don't know if they know a trans person. They just assume they do. Oh well, not. I mean, they don't. They just assume they don't because they haven't seen something that looks like a drag queen at the last class reunion party or whatever. Um, so I'm just like, I don't think most people know who who come around to my channel. Not this one, the other one, where I actually show my face. Also, if someone wants a face reveal of me, go to my other channel. There's nothing to reveal; it's already out there. um, but but yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is that we don't look that different. We aren't some kind of alienated other. We we're just people. And even if we didn't blend in, and we do, most of us do blend in, even if we didn't, who are you to judge us of that? Also, the whole trans suspicion thing has gone so bad that these people are being hurt over it, which is just incredibly stupid. Like they're like, this person must be trans because I think they look kind of trans, and then they end up hurting cis people. So like, these hateful people can't even actually they can't even consistently hurt trans people. You know what I mean? They often manage to just um, they often manage to do damage to their own kind as well. And when you're at the point where you're so bad at the war you're fighting that you end up hurting your own men, that's when you probably should reconsider whether or not this war is worth fighting. And I have to say, all the assholes that really wants to hurt trans people, it isn't. Just freaking stop. Like, I heard stories about cis women in the US that has been sent to like to male prisons because people assumed they were trans. And honestly, it is first off incredibly othering to know that that if you're a trans woman, you would be sent to a male prison, and also like that the system can fail someone so utterly, so awfully that they manage to send even cis women to male prisons. If that isn't a symptom of how stupid this actually is, I don't know what would be. So yeah. The show has a lot of blue here. But yeah, and again, I know I've been talking about a lot of hard topics today, but I feel like it's the right time to do so. Doing TDOR. Um, mm, Again, I really like her design. It's very cute, and I really like this hoodie. I kind of want that, which is why I decided to draw her in it. Um, uh, um, so that one. This has been so much fun already. Uh, really is great. I also like that her hoodie kind of has all of the trans colors on it, even if it seems like it's a coincidence. I kind of like that, which might also be one of the reasons why I picked it, because you know, like that. Yeah. Let's see. What can I do? Um, well, no, what can I do? What do I lack? What is left? This here and this here. Well, it's been a long stream. I said a lot of things, a lot of opinions, a lot of thoughts. They have been unfiltered. Some of the things I said today has been incredibly stupid. I also corrected myself when that, I think, whenever I said something stupid. Well, I forgot I said something stupid because I'm tired. But ultimately, let's pray for those we lost. And let's try and look forward. And this is where I normally would do my outro, but honestly, I don't think I have to today. I don't think that's I how do I put it? I don't feel right doing that today. Is that okay? I think I'll just say thank you and let's pray for a day where we don't need Transgender Day of Remembrance anymore, or Trans Awareness Week for that matter. A day where being trans isn't being demonized. And with that, it's my farewell.